Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Cabinet on Tuesday, 18th of September 2018. Apologies from Erin. Is there anybody else? Graham as well. Yeah, Graham's got an engagement in his ward. He's seen a school, which is quite important, so that's why he's not here. Part of his role as a local ward councillor and committee member. Membership of the committee, we are all here. Minutes of previous meeting, are they a current record? Okay, thank you. Any interest? We're all interested, but no declaration of interest, I'm assuming. Public question time. Any members of the public? Sorry? Oh, sorry, I'm jumping. I'm jumping the gun. I'm going too fast. Admission of the public. We haven't got any public. No, any deputations or petitions? No. Public question time. No public, so no question time. Member question time. Councillor Munro? Item 12? Yeah. I'll bring you item 12.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Item 8, revised asset management policy, highways asset management policy and strategy. Is that Naheed? Naheed, over to you.
Thank you. The Code promotes the adoption of an integrated asset management approach to highway infrastructure based on local levels of service through a risk-based assessment. A summary of all the recommendations from the Code are included in Appendix 3, with further guidance to our own recommendations in Appendix 1 to 2. Kirklees maintains a diverse set of highway infrastructure assets, around 1,900 kilometres of predominantly urban road network. The highway infrastructure is the Council's most valuable asset. Recent survey public satisfaction survey tells us that the highways condition is also an important issue for our residents. I welcome the revised policy, especially as the Code allows highway authorities to develop their own levels of service in accordance with individual local needs, priorities and affordability. And I also believe that the development of an asset management framework introduces collaborative work to drive good practice through shared knowledge, consistency of approach, experience and resources. I ask Cabinet to approve the revised policy and strategy for highway maintenance as set out in Appendix 1 and 2 of this report. Thank you.
Any comments? Anybody? Any questions? Okay, are we okay with that report? Thank you, members. Item 9, adoption of West Yorkshire plus York Common Skid Resistance Policy. Is that you again, Naheed? Yeah, over to you.
It's me again. Thank you. Local authorities need to formalise processes to monitor skid resistance, identifying roads where lack of grip is a potential issue, prioritising sites for required improvement and ensuring that these improvements are incorporated in the forward programme of works. Regular surveys together with the skid policy based on the current standards enables a procedure that can help reduce road casualty rates. The West Yorkshire Combined Authorities have developed a West Yorkshire plus York Common Skid Resistance Policy, Appendix 1. A common policy ensures consistency on cross-boundary networks such as the West Yorkshire Key Route Network, whilst the format allows each local authority the autonomy to manage their network appropriate to the local conditions in accordance with their skid-resistant procedures. I welcome this formalised process to monitoring skid resistance through identifying roads where lack of grip is a potential issue, prioritising sites for required improvements and ensuring that these are incorporated into our forward programme of works which will enhance the safety of road users. I ask Cabinet colleagues to approve the adoption of the West Yorkshire plus York Common Skid Resistance Policy as part of the strategy to manage skid resistance in Kirklees roads.
Peter, secondly. Any comments? David?
Yes, obviously I've got a vested interest in welcoming this, because I'm obviously more vulnerable to skid than four-wheel drive. Though I'm trying to look through the policy, though I mean this is talking about the road surface in many cases, but some of the real the problems that for cyclists and motorcyclists are the street furniture like manhole covers, and it's the treatment of manhole covers isn't mentioned in this. The other thing is the white lines that are put down road, particularly for cyclists, when they're overused for marking other things on roads, they become extremely vulnerable. I mean, if you watched the Tour de France 2 years ago when Chris Froome was brought off his cycle because of a white line. So it doesn't mention that in it. So I mean, and the other thing that obviously is not really, it's a problem that we have to deal with, it's not of our making, is the diesel spillage policy. Of reacting to diesel spillage, which is again is very, very, very sort of high on the agenda as far as motorcyclists and cyclists are concerned. So yes, I welcome this, and I think it's really good that they're taking something on. But I tried to look through the methodology. There's not a great deal of detail here, but I think that with those other things, I think obviously we've got to make sure our roads are as resilient as possible. We've also got to make sure we're not making it worse by putting manhole covers, particularly on corners, or putting excessive white lines down there.
You want to respond to that, or Peter?
I assume that this is an evolving policy, and the points David made will be taken on board, and it's sensible to take note of somebody really who's got experience of bikes and motorbikes.
Okay, yeah, points taken into consideration, and we'll work on them. As you say, Peter, it's evolving policy. So with that caveat, are we okay to approve this report? Okay, thank you, members. Item 10, revised winter maintenance policy. Is that you, Nahid?
That's me again, Leader. Winter policy. The Council undertakes this important winter maintenance service in order to help road users and help minimise the disruptive effect of winter weather in the context of the Council's legal duties, as well as guidance and good practice contained in the new Code of Practice. The Council is keen to promote a proactive community approach by wider engagement to complement the Council's interventions. This policy has been updated to reflect the new Code of Practice. The new Highways Code of Practice, Well-Managed Highways Infrastructure, came into effect in October 2016. This document supersedes the previous well-maintained highways, which included advice on how to operate a winter maintenance policy and service. The 2-year transition period to implement the code comes to an end this October, and hence you have an updated Council's winter policy, maintenance policy in line with the advice of the new code. This updated policy promotes a proactive community approach by wider engagement to complement the Council's interventions, us always, to keep people safe. Thank you.
Okay, Peter seconded it. Any question? Viv, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really speaking both as a ward councillor and a cabinet member, and referring to 2.3.3 about community gritting. And, you know, I do feel the way that grit bins are kept filled and replenished is really good. And this talks about the council providing and maintaining grit bins throughout the district, which are located on adopted roads away from the normal treatment network. I don't know about other wards, but certainly in Hetman-Wyke, we just don't have enough grit bins. We move them about, but actually it's not enough for the areas that aren't gritted. And whilst we can, as ward councillors, fund some further grit bins, the number we need, we don't have the funds for. So I welcome this report, and I welcome the fact that the strategic director is to keep the policy under review, because I would like that addressing. I cannot feel that it is only a problem for Hetman-Wyke. I'm sure it must be similar in other wards, and whether we have to look at it a bit differently. But I do welcome the report.
Thank you. Do you want to take that question? And I've got Councillor Scott afterwards. Right.
So,
Councillor Cassie Scott, you want to take them both together afterwards?
I welcome the report, and I think Councillor Kendrick's just mentioned quite a bit of it. But what I also wanted to mention, I'm not talking about the grit bins, we also utilise people in the community, strategic locations, to put it so that they could go out and grit themselves. And I couldn't find this in the report. I think it's remiss in this report. I think that we need to continue with that because they did a very, very effective job. I know within my own community there was a drop zone where people went and they gritted for the most vulnerable in the area. So I just want to make sure that that's still done. But I do welcome this report.
Yes, Masood.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to echo what some of my colleagues have just said in terms of 2.3.3 and 2.3.4 around the community groups and organisations, because I work quite tirelessly. We've got about 5 or 6 groups in our ward in Thornhill, Breezefield, Whitley areas where it's sometimes very difficult for people to get grit put down on their roads, and the self-help groups have really worked very well on the support that officers have given them in light of what Councillor Scott has said. There have been sites and locations where grit has been put, and those groups have then gone and delivered that to the elderly and most vulnerable. So I welcome this report. I think it's working quite well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mose, did you put your hand up as well? You might as well come in and then let Nahid answer them all in one go.
I just wanted to say that Kirklees has the second most grit bins in the whole of Yorkshire. We've got nearly, from the top of my head, 1,800 grit bins or something, and councillors can, upon request, have grit bins moved around their wards. But yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I've had complaints from residents, and this is quite important, that we get the message across. The grit bins is for the roads, and some residents have approached me, and when the grits run out, they've said people have been using it on the driveway. So we've got to get that message across. This grit is for the roads and not for personal use, unfortunately. Thank you.
Yeah, good point. Nahid, do you want to answer them?
Yes. Thank you. I welcome all of the comments raised. Obviously, resources are finite. I welcome the focus as identified, that working with the community, and I welcome the fact that with the self-help groups and officer support, we're making our resources go further. Obviously, all policies are under review, and officers will welcome any comments or shortages within the wards. However, funding is an issue that we have to consider, and sometimes we are asking councillors to look at their own ward budgets in order to compensate any shortages if possible. Thank you.
Okay, so based on them comments and responses, are we okay with the report? Thank you, members. Item 11, Huddersfield Town Centre improvements. Peter.
Thank you, Chair. This report authorises expenditure to make improvements to 2 major routeways which go across the Huddersfield town, New Street and Crosschurch Street. It's a minor intervention relative to the total needs of the town. However, it's very important that we do invest to improve the public realm, to improve the pavement, to green the area. And these are things I think the public will notice. It will help the pedestrian. So I'm very pleased to welcome this. It is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a long-term investment in our 2 major towns, which is to improve the totality of the public realm. There are going to be 2 major investments in both, which will be major anchor points in the 2 towns. So this will be on the back of that, and we're recognising that the 2 major link points within Huddersfield are the station on the one hand and the university on the other, and you'll notice these 2 routeways do link them. and of course are important in their own right as shopping centres. So very much to be welcomed, and watch the space, there'll be more happening.
You want to speak?
Yes, I also welcome and second this report. It's the public realm works is based on 3 factors. The first is need. The second is to capitalise on known development opportunities, and the third is funding opportunities. And as Councillor McBride has noted, that these locations and projects include New Street, Cross Church Street, King Street area, Queensgate, Queen Street area, and the report is looking for the Cabinet to accept the recommendation. Recommendation 1 is to draw down funds of 1.2 million from the town centre capital allocation to develop and deliver a first phase of improvements. Recommendation 2, members are requested to agree to release the funding of up to 3.5 million to develop, design and deliver a scheme around Cross Church Street, Queen Street, Queensgate area, and the understanding that officers will pursue parallel bids to the combined authority as mentioned by Councillor McBride. And recommendation 3, members are requested to agree to release 250,000 of capital from the town centre capital allocation to deliver essential elements of maintenance in the town centre. Thank you.
Any comments? Yeah, yes, Peter.
This sort of complements private sector investment in Kingsgate, so it's in and around Kingsgate, and our own investment in the co-op, which is on New Street. So that's important. Also to recognise that there's a significant contribution from the West Yorkshire Combined Authority for the streetscape element of that and Cross Church Street.
Any comments, questions? No. I was going to mention that, Peter, regarding the Combined Authority. City Connect, 1.3 million quid, that's going to be released, which is actually additional to what we've actually allocated, which is just short of 5 million quid. So it shows that this council is actually taking the investment in our towns very seriously. So thank you very much, Peter. Are we okay with that? Thank you. Item 12, Kirkburton Parish Council Neighbourhood Area Planning Application for Lepton. Is that you, Peter?
Yeah, I move that, Chair. There are these plans coming forward in various parts of Kirklees. They will complement the local plan and hopefully operate within the framework of the local plan.
Nahid, I'm assuming you're seconding that, yeah? Yeah. We'll take comments.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Could I just make a comment? I've just come here today just to say I want to support it being approved today. Thank you very much.
Is that all you want to say? Do you want to add anything else?
Well, I know you're here just to consider the comments that have been made by the statutory bodies, and I noticed I have read through those, and nobody is filing an objection. So hopefully, on that basis, it will be approved. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Munro. Councillor David Sheard.
Yeah, just a few questions, because I'm taking more interest in this because I noticed that some Kirkburton Kirklees councillors are spending a lot of time in North Kirklees trying to encourage North Kirklees to set up town councils. So obviously, if they're interested in North Kirklees, I'd be interested in their wards. And I'm just looking at, I'm just puzzled about the consultations, because it talks about the consultation. It says that there are, I think it says there's 7 representations, and we only seem to have one of the Kirklees councillors, and I understand this is there are 6 that are covered by this area. Understand?
Peter, do you want to put your mic on?
The Lepton area would cover 3 Almonbury councillors. Within the context of the Kirkburton Kirkheaton Parish Council, there are 3 from Dalton and 3 from Kirkburton.
I was thinking about I'm just noticing that only one councillor has responded to the consultation. And I accept it.
And myself today.
I accept that. And what that really puzzles me is the response from Leeds City Council of one of the 7. I just find it bizarre. I mean, does it mean that where other city councils, where Wakefield consulted, where Bradford consulted, and if they were consulted and didn't comment, why are they not here as no comments being made? So in fact, we've only really got 6 representations. It does say this paper was put out to the public, and it was published in the Examiner. So we paid for advert in the Examiner. It was put into the copies in the libraries, and yet we've only of the 7 representations we've got. I really think the only one that I'm really impressed with is the Councillor Bernard McGuinn, because he's interested in politics area. The other people are all the sort of statutory ones who would comment with their set comments and not specific comments. But I'm just really puzzled about the Leeds City Council one. Can anybody answer that?
No idea. Will you find out for us? Because I'm a bit puzzled as well. And why not Wakefield? It's probably nearer.
Yeah, I mean, even given all that, I mean, I think the fact that I mean, it does. I mean, I looked at the costs that's it's going to be incurred, and it talks about between £17,000 to £63,000 per plan. And I understand from what I've been told is that Kirkburton intend to do 3 plans. And I'm just wondering about the finances of looking for up to £63,000 for 3. So that's, I mean, £180,000 on a planning process for Kirkburton. I mean, is that realistic?
I've no idea. Of course, they won't beat the total cost of that. Some part of it comes from Kirklees, minority part, which we are required to do by law. But it's a big burden on Kirkburton.
Am I allowed to speak? I was just going to explain the situation. What happens is that the working group apply for funding, and they apply for an initial sum of £7,000, and then the parish clerk then applies for. There are several funding streams that can then be application can be made to several funding streams for further sums, but then the actual neighbourhood plan group itself are expected to raise money in addition to that through fundraising at local events, and that's how it's funded. And then, of course, much depends on how many people how many specialists you're going to get involved in writing up the plan and the amount of work that will be needed by those people. So you have to obtain lots of quotes first, to estimates, basically, and there are several companies who are recommended that you go through to obtain those estimates.
Yeah, so given, as I explained earlier, given the interest, because the campaigns are going on in Basildon with Epworth at the moment, and so it is pretty relevant to it. I mean, I'd like to see that we get updates about what progress they're making. Because because it's already incurred some costs, it's going to carry other costs, and I'd just like to see how they're doing it. Because obviously, if they're the first one, I should understand they are. Didn't Newsham do one?
I don't know. I know that some part of the cost of the Kirkheaton plan is manpower, or it's personnel power, in kind, yeah. And the key guy there is a professor of planning, and he's investing his time freely. That's the biggest cost of the Kirkheaton plan. There may be something very comparable in the other plans.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll get some. Do you want to come back?
Thank you. Well, I was just going to say that the professor in Kirkheaton has also been helping us with the one in Lepton as well. And it has been suggested, Kirklees have actually suggested that we try and share resources with Kirkheaton, so we're not wasting money, which I think is a really good idea. There are other, Home Valley's quite well advanced with theirs, and Kirkheaton are obviously more advanced than Lepton. but we have received help, as I say, from the professor, who was one of the country's leading authorities on neighbourhood planning, to assist us, and we will be also, making inquiries possibly of him as well with regard to getting estimates for the costs. Thank you.
Could we also, I'd be interested to know why we've only got 6 responses. Given that this is supposed to be get local people taking a say in their planning of things, there seems to be a distinct lack of interest from local people in this process, which I think is surprising, given the opportunities given to them.
All right.
I think David's right. One or two things we need to look at why only Leeds has been consulted. The other thing is we need regular updates. So once we approve this plan, and also it is surprising that because there's such a big interest elsewhere, why is there not as much interest in this plan? But on that basis, we agree to approve this report. Is that okay? Okay, member, thank you. Item 13, David, is that yourself? Licensing? Oh, Naheed.
Yeah, it's my show today. Licensing policy review update. Kirklees licensing service administers and enforces licenses in relation to a wide range of license types, ranging from taxis to licensed premises and street activities. The current review is in relation to taxi licensing in conjunction with the other West Yorkshire authorities and the City of York. The current changes ensure a consistent, agreed minimum expectations relating to standards and skills amongst taxi drivers and vehicle specifications in order to protect the travelling public and ensure people across West Yorkshire are transported safely and protected from harm, as well as improve customer experience. A summary of the main changes is attached at Appendix A, but in essence, the policies that West Yorkshire Combined Authorities will be consulting on are West Yorkshire Combined Policy on determining the fitness and suitability of applicants and licensees for private hire, Hackney carriage drivers, and a West Yorkshire Combined Policy on driver training. But it will also be, can I make a point of saying, a Kirklees policy which is harmonised with the combined authorities. So the changes will encompass the following: review the conviction guidelines relating to taxi trade. This will ensure there is a common standard for assessment of a driver training being fit and proper. 2, review on how applications are processed with a view to strengthening the pre-application criteria. This would again ensure there is consistency to a minimum standard across West Yorkshire. 3, a review of the conditions attached to driver and operator licenses. This work will be completed in conjunction with West Yorkshire Combined Authorities. The process will make it quicker for the drivers. Can I ask Cabinet, 1, to note the report and timescales for the work, and 2, approve officers to continue to develop the policy in collaboration with West Yorkshire Combined Authority, and to brief myself as portfolio holder and licensing chair regarding the review and timetable for implementation. Thank you.
David?
Yeah, can I second that and give a bit more background to why we're going down this route? I mean, I'm not sure how many the public know that, and I know most councillors know, is that the government changed the regulations as far as taxi and private hire drivers were concerned a few years ago. Up till a few years ago, if you were driving a taxi in Kirklees, you had to be licensed in Kirklees. So we had a say in who drove our taxis. And that was true for every authority. Every licensing authority licensed its own taxi and private hire drivers. So we had a say in the type of person that drives our taxis. What happened is the government took away that restriction and said that taxi drivers could be licensed anywhere and drive anywhere, which meant that the control of who actually drives our taxis is changed by allowing taxi drivers or private hire drivers to shop around for the country to see who's got the weakest regulation. So that if they were turned down by, say, Kirklees, they could nip over to, when we've had drivers in Kirklees who have got taxi licences from Transport for London to drive in Kirklees. Now, in West Yorkshire, what we've done in West Yorkshire is we've taken together, because we're obviously, there's a lot of cross-boundary working within West Yorkshire. So in West Yorkshire and York, we have agreed that we are to give the licensing powers for our drivers to other authorities, and other authorities do the same. So in West Yorkshire, any driver that's in West Yorkshire can have his licence checked by the officers from that authority on behalf of us. So we've got, at least across West Yorkshire, we've got licence. That raised the question is that we in West Yorkshire do not have unified standards for our drivers or operators. In fact, we don't have unified standards for the cabs either. At this stage, we thought the most important thing, because the cabs one has a lot of differences about regulations for cars, about the age of cars, about whether they're diesel or petrol, whether they've got tinted windscreens, whether some are approved and some are not. And the livery. Liveries are different in all authorities. In fact, York have no livery at all. And there are reasons for we brought in the livery. But as far as the fit and proper person test is concerned, because of this, the government changing this regulation nationally, the national I think it's called the National Licence, part of the LGA, the legal review, I think there's a name of it in it, it's named in here. There's an association, national association, that's looking at regulations concerning the taxis. And they've made recommendations that everyone in the country should adopt the same regulations. So there's the same basic standards that's to set out when you would, who are fit and proper people to have licences. Such like if you've been convicted of murder, I think the regulations say that you should never ever be able to drive a taxi again if you've been convicted of murder. There's things like drug dealing offences and obviously child protection offences and sexual offences. All these are regulated. The recommendations are saying if someone's got these sort of convictions, and it goes on to say if you've got 9 points on your licence, if you've got driving no insurance, you're driving at unfit things or driving without a licence, all these are a set amount of time that you would not be seen as a fit and proper person to drive a taxi. Now, what we did in West Yorkshire, we got together with all the licensing chairs and the licensing officers and said it would be nonsense to go for anything other than national guidelines. Because if we were seen to be diluting the national guidelines, then we would be held to account for not protecting the people of West Yorkshire. So that's why we're recommending that we adopt, and it is for each council to adopt it itself, because we haven't got a joint body across West Yorkshire that does that. So each authority would have to bring it forward. But what we've said is that we are going out to consultation in all the 6 authorities at the same time on the same regulations. The same things applies to what this paper is trying to do as well is what we've no research has shown that in some authorities it takes 9 months to get a licence. Some other authorities in the country do it in 1 month. We are below. We are better than average. We're taking about 3 months at the moment. It goes up and down. But across West Yorkshire, one of the other authorities were taking 9 months. Now that means drivers shop around, and we're trying to stop that because we think the best people to check on a licence is where they actually live and work. So what we're trying to do is rationalise and to try and make the system better. So cut down the time that a driver takes to get a licence by allowing for a lot of the work to be done beforehand. So that a lot of the work can be done up front, so it cuts down the time and puts the onus back on the driver to do the training. And we're trying to rationalise training because all the authorities across West Yorkshire don't have the same training. We're obviously wanting to improve training, particularly about the way people treat disabled passengers. Because there is a different standards in different authorities. We obviously want the best standards that we can get. So behind this paper, though it seems like a technical thing that's going through, It's a big change to what we're doing, and we're hoping that all of West Yorkshire and York, because they're the ones that's coming with us, will have the same regulations as far as drivers are concerned. That won't stop drivers going to somewhere else in the country if they feel they can get one past them. But the government are at the moment in the process of setting up a national database that if we refuse a licence, we can put the person on the national database so any other authority can check if a person has been refused a licence somewhere else to find out the reasons. We've had a recent case where we had someone, one of the questions that we ask when people apply for licences, have you been refused a licence elsewhere? We've a case that came to light to us recently where the person had said no he hadn't, but when we checked up we found out by accident that he changed his name and he had been refused a licence in Wakefield for driving without insurance. So all the moves towards national coordination, local coordination is a good move, and I happy to second this paper because I think it's vitally important that we do make sure that our taxis and private hire vehicles are safe.
Do you want to say something?
Yes, please.
We can't, sorry, no, I'm joking.
I just want to thank Councillor Sheard for elaborating on the context and the detail of the work involved in this review and the subsequent consultation. We are, as was elaborated on, all of the local authorities are going through this process at the same time, and what we're hoping for is common standards, enhanced public protection, and all of this making it easier for drivers to know what the requirements are. So overall, it would be a common standard across West Yorkshire and York. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, David.
Can I just make the plea that all our drivers and all our organisations representing drivers get hold of this document and go through it and respond to it, because it'll be too late when it comes back if they start making comments after it's all gone through. So I think it's vitally important that they take it on board as soon as it goes out and check and make their comments and take part in the consultation.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I agree with what Naheed and David have said. This professionalises the service even more. I actually think that this will be good for the taxi drivers, basically, because they will have a common framework across West Yorkshire to actually act upon. Most of our drivers are very good, but this will weed out the ones that are giving us a bad name. I think, you know, from my experience, you know, if you have one or two that are not meeting the standard, it brings the whole thing down. So this policy, once it's actually implemented across West Yorkshire, will actually iron all that out. And I'm glad that, you know, we're actually leading on this, because, you know, we do need to make sure we safeguard our taxis, we safeguard our customers who use the taxis, and at the same time we instill that confidence in our communities that we are actually up for the challenge, and we actually put in every single person's safety at the front. And at the same time, you know, we develop our taxi workforce that is second to none, and we should be proud of that. So thank you, David. Okay, are we okay with that? Okay, thank you, members. The last item, is it the last item? Yeah, last item 14. Viv, do you want to take this? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. In fact, I was having a bit of a battle with Councillor McBride, who was also bidding to present this in Councillor Turner's absence, but I'm sure he will second it and make some other comment. At the February Budget Council this year, £300,000 was allocated to support a community events programme. Subsequent to that, in May this year, the local Government Association Challenge visited Kirklees, and the participants of that challenge were asked to come up with a solution or a suggestion about, in a district which struggles with its identity, how do you develop a vibrant cultural offer for local people, which helps to establish a place identity for the district as a whole, or its towns and villages, which was a big challenge, and I was involved in one of the judging panels within that. The winning team proposed a district-wide festival inspired by the heritage of textile industries, because the textile industry in a lot of ways touches virtually every part of Kirklees. So this report asks Cabinet to agree the allocation of £200,000 for a 6 weeks textile-themed festival, and another £100,000 to ensure that Kirklees communities can participate in regional and national events. And, you know, Councillor Turner has put a lot of comment into this report, recommending it and giving the reasons why, and I would fully recommend and support this.
Thank you, Viv. Peter?
I would happily defer to my revered colleague and wholeheartedly support the report.
David?
Yes, if Councillor Turner had been here, I would have criticised his report for the point he makes in it. He talks about, he says textiles are the foundation. He says, I think, what is it? He says, from fine worsted in the Huddersfield area to the shoddy and Mungos industry in Dewsbury and Battle areas, which implies, in some ways, that fine worsted is superior to shoddy and Mungo. Yet we all know that the point that shoddy and Mungo, because it is pre-worn cloth that has been worn down, is much harder wearing than fine worsted cloth. So if you're a true Yorkshire person and you want a hard wearing cloth rather than something that's spivvy, and I mean, I think the fine worsted is more applicable to Londoners than the shoddy and Mungo, which is a real Yorkshire product because it's much longer wearing and much better value for money.
Yes, Masood.
I just wanted to say something about the report. I mean, I welcome it, and obviously my dad used to work in the textile industry for Woolman and Walkers as a foreman as well, and I think the report itself and what it brings for the diverse communities and bringing culture and communities together, I think it really echoes that, because it's about time, because I think my dad obviously came here in the 1950s, obviously then retired, obviously is at that age now, but I do believe it brings those communities back, because there's a lot of elders in those communities there that really want to know more about what it was about. I think this 200,000 will really go a long way in terms of helping identify those communities in terms of what they did in them days. Thank you, Chair.
Did your dad work at Wimbledon Walkers as well?
Actually, he did. I endorse everything that my colleagues have said. I'm very excited. I think it's time that we caught up and wrote our oral histories and, you know, our diverse communities. It's a tapestry, it's a testament to Kirklees. So I welcome the spend and look forward to the outcomes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, Viv mentioned the LGA challenge, and this was a task which challenged the LGA young employees. They were all very young. And one of the things that we actually asked them to do is go away and look at what binds Kirklees together. We've got different townships, different districts. And one of the things they came back with, I don't know if you remember, but it was mills. You know, wherever you go in Kirklees, you've got mills, and the mills and the rich textile industry. But Masood, you bring another perspective on there, which actually brings different cultures as well. And that is something that we're going to start to create. What is the Kirklees brand? And when they first came out with textiles and mills, I wasn't really sure. But after seeing the presentation from the young people, right, yeah, I was convinced. And actually at the LGA conference, this was showcased as one of the national challenge, milestones. So, you know, good work that Graham's done. And I take the point that, you know, we've got harder wearing fabric in North Kirklees and South Kirklees. Thank you. So we all agree to that report. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, members. That's it.